It was just past midnight at gate D23, where the air felt like it could freeze your breath. The airport terminal was a ghost town, all flickering lights and tired murmurs. My niece, Lily, only 8, sat curled up in one of those unforgiving plastic chairs, her little hands clutching her backpack like it was her lifeline. She was pale, running a fever, her soft voice barely a whisper as she said she just wanted to go home. I handed her a water bottle I'd grabbed from the kiosk and said, "Stay put, kiddo. I'll be back in 1 minute." 1 minute. That's all it took for everything to shatter. I stepped away maybe 20 yards to grab some tissues. No line, no hassle. But when I turned back, my heart stopped. Lily was slumped in her chair, her arms twitching, her lips moving like she was trying to call for me, but no sound came. I ran, my shoes pounding the floor, tissues forgotten. Her eyes met mine, wide with panic, and then I saw it blood, a thin trickle spilling from her mouth, staining her sleeve. She started vomiting, violent and unstoppable, her small body shaking. I dropped to my knees. "Lily, look at me. Stay with me, baby." People screamed, footsteps thundered, someone shouted for a medic, but all I could hear was her shallow breaths, each one weaker, like she was slipping away. The bottle had rolled under the seat, cracked open. I grabbed it, and a sharp, chemical stench hit me. Bleach, maybe ammonia, something that didn't belong in a child's body. Then I heard her voice, cool as ice, right behind me. "Oh, that? I thought it was garbage." I turned, and there she was, Melissa, dressed in crisp white, a cashmere shawl draped over her shoulders, diamond studs glinting in her ears. She stood there, arms crossed, her painted smile smug, like she hadn't just poisoned my niece. My hand shook, Lily's blood still wet on my fingers. "You touched this bottle," I said, my voice low, dangerous. She shrugged. It looked used. "Maybe don't leave trash lying around." I stepped closer, the bottle gripped like a weapon. "You poured something in it." She laughed a lot and said, "If your kid drank something off the floor, that's on you." Kid? She just called Lily a sick, terrified child a thing. "Say that again," I snapped. Melissa's eyes narrowed. "Maybe teach your child not to leave garbage everywhere and worry less about your temper." A janitor nearby tried to speak, but she silenced him with a wave, like he was beneath her. "You saw nothing. Mind your place." She turned to walk away, her heels clicking slow and deliberate, like she'd already won. I knelt by Lily, her eyes fluttering, and whispered, "I'm here, sweetheart. You're gonna be okay." But my gaze locked on Melissa. She thought she was untouchable, rich, polished, above it all. She had no idea what was coming. I whispered to the nurse holding Lily's hand, "Don't let go of her." And then I moved. My steps were quick, silent. I didn't yell or warn. I caught up to Melissa near a service hallway and grabbed her wrist. She gasped, "Excuse me," but I yanked her toward a steel door marked "Staff Only." Her heels skidded, her eyes wide, but she wasn't stronger than me. "Not today. Get your hands off me." "Do you know who I am?" she spat. I didn't answer. I shoved the door open, dragged her inside, and kicked it shut. She stumbled, clutching her purse like it could save her. "You're insane. I'll press charges." The room was dim, metallic, reeking of bleach and ammonia. Cleaning carts lined the walls, a yellow mop bucket sat in the corner, and open jugs of chemicals glinted under a flickering bulb. I stepped closer. She backed into the carts, nearly falling. "You ruined someone," I said. "A child. My niece." She shouted, "I didn't do anything. I moved trash, that's all. Blame yourself." Her voice cracked, but her eyes held no guilt, just contempt. That's when I knew she didn't need justice. She needed fear. I rolled up my sleeves. "No more talking, Melissa." I grabbed the mop handle. She flinched, and I let the silence crush her. The room felt smaller, the air heavy. "You're insane," she hissed, adjusting her purse strap. "You'll go to jail." I stepped forward. I heard her. When she cried, when she choked, when she bled. Melissa shrieked. "I didn't touch her. Why would I? She's just some kid." I pointed the mop at her chest. "You saw a child and saw trash. So you got rid of what bothered you, like always." Her jaw clenched, a flicker of guilt in her eyes. She knew, and she thought she'd skate free. She'll live, I said. But you're not off the hook, she spat. You're not a cop, just a thug. I smiled, cold and empty. Good. Cops stop when you scream. I swung the mop, slamming it into the wall an inch from her head. The clang echoed like a gunshot. She screamed, collapsing, arms raised to shield herself. Stop. This is assault. I dropped the mop and picked up Lily's bottle, still wet with her poison. Her eyes widened. What are you doing? I unscrewed the cap slowly. Your turn. I grabbed her hair. She screamed as I poured the liquid over her head. It soaked her blouse, ran into her eyes, her mouth. She gagged, clawing at her face like it burned. I leaned close. How's it taste, Melissa? Still just trash. She coughed, sobbed, her mascara streaming, her perfect curls ruined. I wasn't done. You don't get to walk away clean. Her voice broke. Please stop. I dragged her across the wet floor, her heels scraping toward a grimy utility sink overflowing into a bucket of dark, chemical sludge. Her eyes widened. No, no. I slammed her face toward the bucket, stopping inches above it. She shrieked, flailing. Please don't. I held her there, letting her breathe the stench of bleach and decay. This is what Lily almost drowned in, I growled. You poured poison on a child. She sobbed. I didn't know. I hissed, just what? An inconvenience in your perfect world. Then I did it. I shoved her face into the bucket 1, 2, 3 seconds. I pulled her up. She gasped, thrashed, choking. I'm sorry. I swear. I didn't believe her, but I stopped. Not for mercy, but so she'd remember. I gripped her collar. I want this in your skin, your hair, your nose. Every breath you take will smell like what you did. I let go. She crumpled, shaking, looking at me like I was the monster. But she'd already met the real one, her own reflection, now soaked and unrecognizable. I walked out, the door slamming behind me. No alarms, just silence. I returned to Lily, her color returning, her eyes flickering open. Hey, I whispered, touching her cheek. I'm right here. She tried to smile, and that kept me from going back to finish what I'd started. 3 days later, I hadn't seen Melissa. I didn't need to. Someone from the cleaning crew had talked not to the press, but to the right people. That Friday, the neighborhood HOA held an emergency meeting. No fanfare, just one topic, Melissa's actions. The room was packed with residents she'd bullied, fined, dismissed. She arrived late, her gray suit stained at the collar, her face pale. Let's get this circus over with, she muttered, but no one laughed. Mr. Delgado, a former Marine, read the facts. What she did, what she said, who saw it. Then he asked, if that was your daughter, would you call it trash? Melissa tried to interrupt, but Mrs. Fields, a retired teacher, cut her off. You've made this neighborhood smaller every day you let it. The vote was unanimous 48-0. Melissa was out as HOA president. She stood, trembling, searching for allies. No one looked at her. I wasn't there. I didn't need to be. This wasn't revenge, it was removal. The next morning, Melissa pulled into her usual cafe, same entitled glare. The barista didn't smile. We're out of oat milk. She snapped. Use almond. Out of that, too. The message was clear. Not welcome. Her nail salon lost her appointment. Her gym fob stopped working. Her name vanished from the community center plaque. She tried renting a condo elsewhere denied, flagged by HOA records and an airport authority note. Her mailbox held a single message. We know what you did. Her world shrank. Social clubs dropped her. Neighbors turned away. Her lawyer didn't answer. The woman who once strode beside her with a clipboard hung up after 10 seconds. By week's end, Melissa was a ghost. I saw her house once, grass overgrown, trash bags slumped on the curb. She stood there, sunglasses hiding her eyes, coat too big, like she'd forgotten who she was. She looked up as I passed. No words, just two people, one carrying medicine for a child, the other carrying nothing. Weeks later, Lily was laughing again, drawing cats in astronaut helmets. I told her the water was bad, not her fault, and she was brave. But I carried the guilt of that 1 minute I left her alone. Melissa's house went dark, notices piling up. I saw her once at the bank, hunched, pleading with a manager who didn't care. She never used to beg. Then came the note, slipped under my door. No stamp, just smudged ink. You win. I lost everything. I hope your niece is okay. I'm Leah V.Y.ing. I folded it away, next to Lily's rainbow drawing. Neighbors asked if I got justice. I told them, and I made Melissa see her own rot and watched her world crumble without lifting a finger. She wasn't dead, but she wasn't alive where it mattered, not in the community she ruled, not in Lily's heart, which would always carry that pain. Justice didn't roar. It whispered, slow and quiet, like the last drops from a broken bottle. It wasn't about revenge behind that door. It was about forcing someone untouchable to feel their own weight. Melissa wasn't sentenced by a judge, but by every life she'd diminished. And when no one met her eyes, she learned what it was to be powerless, to be what she called my niche trash. This isn't just about her or me. It's about what happens when we stop letting cruelty hide behind politeness or power. Too many get away because no one dares act. But justice can be a locked door, a firm hand, a choice to say, not today. I don't regret what I did not because it was easy, but because it made her accountable. You don't need a crowd to make a difference, just courage. Now, I want to hear from you. Would you have stopped where I did or gone further? If someone hurt your family and smirked about it, could you walk away? Should people like Melissa be forgiven if they say sorry? Or is their ruin the only answer? Drop your thoughts below. Like this if it hit you. Share with someone who needs to know standing up matters. And subscribe for more stories that crack open the truth. Let's talk what's justice to you.